go ahead and officially call the meeting to order. Has the meeting been properly posted and will been taken?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is approval of the minutes. Minutes from the May 2nd, 2022 planning commission. If there's no additions or corrections, then go ahead and entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing here none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 3 is communications. I don't believe we have any communications at this time, so we'll move on to item number 4, which is a public hearing. Review and possible recommendation 4.1, public hearing on a request to consider a conditional use petition to allow for an indoor commercial entertainment land use with a minor outdoor commercial entertainment accessory land use for a restaurant at 627 South 2nd Street, located in the office neighborhood OM zoning district. Applicant Corey Meyer. And Corey is with us via Zoom. Thank you, Corey. And with that, we'll open the public hearing and T can get us started in the discussion.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is at 627 South 2nd Street. We have two things here. One's for a restaurant for an indoor commercial entertainment, and then we also have the patio that is going to be the outdoor, that requires a conditional use for the outdoor minor. And we do have Corey, who was going to be here in person today, but I think his family had a, I don't know if it was a baby girl or a baby boy, but I heard that he was in the hospital today and they had a baby. So he's here via Zoom. Congratulations. Can you hear us, Corey? I saw his picture a second.
He was there a second ago.
Yeah, he was.
Lost him. Can you hear us, Corey? I don't know if you guys are gonna have any specific questions for him or not, but it's the. There he goes.
Oh, there's Corey. Corey, can you hear us okay?
Is he muted? Is he muted?
Yeah, he is muted. Corey, I think you're muted.
Should be good. Sorry about that.
No worries, we can hear you. Congratulations. We all send our congratulations to the new addition of the family.
Thank you.
T got us started. I don't know if there's any questions from commissioners for T. Yes, well.
Mr. Mayor, Corey, a question with regard to the secondary usage, the patio. If I understand this, the patio is to be between the building and the highway,
Yes, that is correct.
and it's just typically just going to be used as an extension or an accessory to the inside facility.
Correct. Outdoor seating and dining out there as well. Yes.
Are you anticipating any entertainment of any kind there?
We might do like a blues night that would, run regular hours, like 5 to 8, something like that, where we have like a little bit of live music. But that would be inside, and it would not create a nuisance.
So you're not anticipating anything outside that might be a problem for the residential zoning in the area?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, for the question, yeah, Kevin?
I'll direct this to T first, and then Corey, you can potentially answer. We weren't provided with any kind of drawing for the patio that I saw.
Sure.
The only attachment was the survey document, I think. And T, if you could look, I think the survey document has a yellow black line. Is that yellow and black line the right of way?
I I don't. Trying to remember here. I know Mark and I looked over this. Corey did submit a site plan to us in our development, in one of our development reviews. We did review it and it did meet our setbacks. I believe the red line is the center of the street. I guess I don't want to answer that. I don't think Mark's online here. I'm not 100% sure if that is the an easement for that or not.
So yeah, I mean, I think, well, one, I think in the future, if we're gonna, when we're asked to act on the outdoor patios, we should probably see those.
Yeah, that should have been included in that. I apologize for that.
That's all right. And secondly, I'm gonna trust that you guys have ensured that it doesn't infringe on the right of way.
Yeah, I know we did, in one of our development reviews, we did have we talked about it quite a bit.
And what is the proposed, is there a proposed pavement patio that's gonna be installed on the grass area or, excuse me, brick paver patio?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Corey answer that one, but I believe that that's what it is. I don't know if
Yes.
it's pavement or, yeah.
Okay.
Brick.
And is there any plan to ever tent that structure, or is it always just gonna be table umbrella?
Would you like me to answer that right now?
Sure, go ahead, Al.
Okay, it is 18 by 32 foot concrete patio that would go to 26 and a half feet off of the road, which meets the 25-foot clearance. There would be the 4-foot high fence that you can see through, but would border the patio. And it would be primarily used for tables and chairs. There might be a potential use of, if we did like a bags league or something like that out there as well, but it would be enclosed.
So a permanent tented structure.
It's not gonna be tented in. There's no roof or anything like that.
The reason I ask is because, if I recall, we had to make special provision for the open.
Correct. Yeah, it's just for a
tented
patio.
structure at Lake Lawn.
Right. Yeah, no, this is, there is no roof on this. It's just strictly a patio that's fenced in, that allows for their liquor license to expand into that outside area.
Okay.
Any other questions from commissioners? Any other citizens who wish to speak? All I would ask is that you just provide your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tom McQueen, 713 South Second Street. I want to welcome Corey to Delavan, first of all, and congratulations on the newborn. Welcome to Botherwood. Maybe this isn't your first, but welcome to Delavan. So technically, I'm your neighbor. And I live 3 doors down from the restaurant, and I've lived there for over 36 years. And I just want to say that you have a prime location, and I anticipate that you're going to do very well. Okay. So my question is, first of all, you purchased the whole property, correct? The back area, the 2 acres of that also, correct?
Yes, Tom, that is correct.
Okay, good. Because some of you may recall that a few years ago, Mr. Lander wanted to do something specifically in those back 2 acres. So the property was divided into office neighborhood and then another designation that I can't think of right now. Does anyone have that off the top of their head?
Multi-family.
Multifamily?
I believe it's institutional.
Institutional. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that that zoning went with the purchase of the property, unlike a conditional use permit where you have to reapply for it. So now that property is still divided into two separate keys, so to speak, correct?
That's the way I understood it, that was separate.
Okay, okay. So I guess my question to you is, what plans, if any, do you have for those back 2 acres?
As of right now, Tom, we don't have any plans for that. Our main focus is on the structure in place and getting it up and running. And moving forward, if we had any plans, we would come to the city with that if there was anything that we would like to do and go through this process.
Okay, good to know, good to know. So the conditional use permit was mentioned earlier in the meeting that it was for between the restaurant itself and the road, or is it in back of the restaurant towards the east?
No, this is for the building and a concrete patio on the front of the building. Nothing, I guess it would be east of the parking lot towards the back of the lot.
For the back of the lot then, okay, so yeah, because I believe Mr. Lander had a small situation back there that he was attempting to use as an outdoor pub, so to speak. At one point.
Okay.
Well, I believe so. So, okay. Other than that, once again, welcome to Delavan. I look forward to coming down, having some pizza and walking home, so.
Thank you, Tom.
Did you have a question? Or, Kevin, did you?
Well, I just, as a point of order to the chair, questions about the other parcel aren't germane to this here, so.
Thanks, Kevin. Any other citizens wish to speak? I don't think we have anyone else joining us virtually. So with that, if there's no other additional questions or comments, I will close the public hearing at this time and move on to item number 4.2, which is considered a conditional use petition to allow for an indoor commercial entertainment land use for the minor outdoor commercial entertainment accessory land use for a restaurant at 627 South 2nd Street, located in an office neighborhood ON zoning district. Again, applicant Corey on. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the findings as listed in the report and recommend to the common council the approval of a limited conditional use request for the existing building located at 627 South 2nd Street in the office neighborhood zoning district to be used as a restaurant with minor outdoor commercial entertainment accessory land use, including the recommended conditions of approval as listed.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Again, congratulations to you, Corey, and welcome to Delavan. And thanks for joining us. And good luck with the rest of your activities today and in the near future with the new addition to the family.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
With that, we'll move on to item number 5, which is business 5.1 is consider electronic signage installation along the 7th Street frontage of property within the historic overlay district located at 115 South 7th Street.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nope, just lost my spot. So yeah, this is for the electronic message board sign that Ed Claire's here in the audience today that they'd like to put out at the Catholic Church there at 115 South 7th Street. Our code does have some restrictions on electronic message board signs, and in the agenda here, you'll kind of see that we have some stuff from the past with the American Legion that we've allowed these. And basically, I brought this to the Plan Commission today so that it's not just through my approval, that it's through the plan commissions also, since there are certain parts of the code that people can read different ways into this. So Ed is here in the audience if you have any questions for him.
I know I had one question in the memo that was provided, towards the very end in the last paragraph where it said that you acknowledged the preference to have it shut off at 10 p.m. And that you would have an inquiry into the sign installer who's done many of the signs around the area and will report at this meeting what if anything can be adjusted, or if it can be indeed be, I assume, shut off at 10 o'clock, or if there's some other alternative idea or thought there.
Absolutely. First, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you,
Can I ask a
Commissioners.
quick question to follow up on that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Where, to me, where would that be coming from, that it has to shut off at 10? When we don't have the Legion shut off at 10, or we don't have other places to shut off at 10, why all of a sudden would we want them to have to shut off at 10?
So the only thing that came up that brought that up is that right across the street is residential zoning, so there's some homes there.
That's my house. Across
So-
from, yeah, no, I'm just saying this in general because I like, me personally, I like everything fair to everybody. The American Legion stays on all the time and they have residential across from them. And I understand that if I was living across from it, I'd probably want it turned off too because it will shine through my window.
Right, so I guess just from a zoning aspect, I mean, that's up to you guys to help decide what you want to approve and what you don't want to approve.
Okay, I clearly understand. I just wanted to know where it came from because I thought it could have been from something like that. It's just.
Right. There's not a specific code section that says that, but there is parts in our code that say when a residential district is so close, that there should be restrictions on that. And so that's why we wanted to at least address that so that we didn't have issues in the future, and that if we did, we could come back to that part.
Right, before that.
Sure.
I mean, I want to point out that one of the memo questions is that these guys are asking for answers. And so I think it would be helpful if we approach this in two ways. One, to have a discussion about this specific application, and then to share our thoughts about what the general rules might be, and talk to staff about how we make these not one-off.
Sure.
Great. I did hear back from the sign manufacturer, Burley Signs in Burlington. The signs themselves aren't made for hard on and offs, so they're worried about that damaging the circuitry. But he said with that in mind, they can dim it to the point it's visible. And I know the Catholic parish has said they're willing to do whatever the city would like. So if it's 9 p.m. or if it's 10 p.m., they're cognizant of that, and they certainly don't want to upset our neighbors. So,
And again, I just asked that, just addressing the preference for that, and there was certainly no set thing that said it had to be shut off at 10 o'clock. And again, we'll have that discussion, but it's good. That was just the one question that I had, and so thank you for addressing it. Any other questions?
I have a question, and that is, so I don't know if you have seen the packet that we've been provided, but the last example we have from Burlington Signs, or Burley Signs, excuse me, is a 3-brick column with suspended displays and an aluminum cross. And is that the current design?
correct.
It's hard for us to look at it because it's like based upon the drawing that Burley Science provided, it's like an acute angle between pillars. Do you have an overhead view of what the sign
There is one, if you go down a little bit more, there's a drawing of it.
That was the old one.
The last page has an overhead that was prepared to scale by the landscape
That's the
firm.
But it also has notes and it says it's not where they want it to be.
That was part of our request is right now that we're replacing an existing sign and flagpole that are there.
Right on. Yeah.
And what we'd like to do is move that sign up closer to the sidewalk. Right now, I believe it's 8 feet off the sidewalk and we'd like to move it up 4 feet. There's still gonna be landscaping in front of the sign to keep people away from the actual sign.
But to answer my question, the nature of that sign is as described here, the angle of it.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
45-degree angle.
Yeah, with the flagpole behind it.
Correct, yeah.
And this is just going where the flagpole is now on 7th Street.
Yes, yeah, it may be moved, and the only reason I don't have hard numbers for you is until they actually get the mason in to lay the footings for those, we can't pinpoint where that flagpole was.
So to point out, I mean, I appreciate that you guys wrote, move up closer to the road as close as the city lets without having the trees block the view. The fact of the matter is, I would contend the city permits it up to 1 foot off the sidewalk, because that's what I measured over there.
Which one, the church over there?
Yeah,
Don't even,
but
that church one is a little bit different of a situation, I think. That one that they just put in, I think, and then it was eventually just, never mind, I'm not gonna get into that.
so my question is, do we have a rule?
We do have a rule. I believe it was, I believe it's 5, but they were actually looking at, if you look on that drawing, there's like a book drop that's drawn in there, and I believe that that's how close that you were hoping to get it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so, and that's probably, I think that is like 8, it's probably like 8 feet, I believe, isn't it?
I think it was a
6.
It was 6 is what I
Yeah.
thought.
So I believe that they were wanting to get it as close as that book drop, so if you guys were fine with, 5 feet or whatever, our code does allow that, so.
What does the code allow? I'm sorry, I asked a question, I made.
Sure. Yeah, so I believe that code in there is, I believe it's 5 feet.
And what code reference are we?
So this would be in reference to the signage code. In our signage code, there's a bunch of little asterisk marks for certain types of signs. And if you go farther down, it will give you in all the different zoning districts how far certain signs could be off the property lines.
And so this is institutional, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, I'm sorry, no, let's finish this.
Chris, did you have anything?
Mm-mm.
You already got, okay. Any other? Yeah,
The sign would be on 2nd Street, which is the same street the law office is on, right?
7th Street. Yeah, and the
Is it
same.
on 7th or not 2nd?
Yep, so the portion, if you're looking at the front doors of the church, it would be on the opposite side behind the church, replacing. It's a hard to see sign that's there right now. It's a solid wood sign.
Okay.
We would just be replacing that with these 2 electronic signs.
Basically the
Just
school.
Correct.
School.
And the intention is to advertise both school and parish events, but it's right at the front door of the school.
Okay, and then I'm thinking that the sign that was, the other one that was referred to by the Legion over here is a totally different sign. This is more, as I see it, it's more like the sign that's at the high school. It's more like a, like a screen. Is that correct?
It's more of a screen, and the one I know that definitively is like it is the one at the gas stations, the mobile, for example, on Wright Street or Board Road and 50. And you can tell those signs, they're called Watchfire is the trademark.
Okay. But I was thinking that would provide more light than, let's say, the sign by the Legion next door, as far as being visible to the neighbors.
It could, but I also know it has a lot more control, and I don't know if that sign, if they have the ability to dim.
Okay.
I think Lake Lawn has one of these out across from its front entrance. And I know that theirs is set to dim at a certain hour of the night.
Okay.
So, and we're perfectly, content dimming it at whatever time you folks all think would be appropriate for it. They just would like to have it out there to get the word out on upcoming events.
Well, the beauty of having it on at night is it's usually darker, so when it dims, it'll still be very, very visible. That being said, I'm happy that you're taking into account everyone else around in the community, so.
Definitely, and I do know Dennis, the owner of Early Signs, said that they could lower it to a shadow is his term. He didn't know the foot candle number for that, but he said you would not even be able to make out what's on the screen at that. So we have flexibility. If anyone came back and said they'd like it lower, the school basically has told me they're happy to work with everyone.
Well, did you have a question? Or
Yes, thank you. T, a couple of questions for you regarding the signs themselves. Does the ordinance, the first question, does the ordinance allow for two signs, two electronic signs on a single property?
Technically, the signs are connected to each other and they're only visible. You can only see one side, so it's kind of like a two-sided sign, even though it's on an angle. It's exactly what they have at the Legion next door. So yes, we would just kind of consider that one sign. It's the way that when we permit and bill form and everything, it's just considered one sign.
So instead of them being back to back, they're just side to side. Like the Legion's is back to back, there's two signs. They're just pitting.
Second question, is it in conformance with the square footage based upon the highway frontage?
Yeah, so
So the square footage,
for the square footage, they would be fine, they would be compliant with that.
Any other? Yeah. Did you-
No, I was just gonna say thank you if there's something else.
One real quick question. I'm assuming this is going to be correct, but we do have a night sky ordinance, so this would be in compliance with that.
Because
Yeah, it would be, and most of the dark sky compliant has to do with shielding from the light, so yes.
But then, if there's no other additions or Kevin, did you have? another?
yeah, what I would ask the chair is that he not move to 5.2 until, I would say that we should move on this item and then we should respond to the staff's request for comment before we move to 5.2.
I have no issue with that. Does, with that, is there a motion on this?
I would move to approve the proposed signage as outlined.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, any further discussion? I just would say, for many of us that knew John, I think this is a very nice tribute to him and his legacy and what he meant to this community as well as what Claire family has meant to the community as well. So thanks, and it's a nice sign of support that this is before us.
Thank you.
And so, with that, if there's no other further discussion, there's a motion, a second, all in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you again for being here. With that, there was a request to look at item 5.3.
No. I said stay on 5.1 is what I
Oh.
wanted to speak.
Oh, stay on
for a
5.1.
second.
Okay.
So
Good
the
second.
staff asked for better guidance, because I think the history of these signs is checkered. In that the city has not necessarily known how to deal with them. And so one of the requests was, could you guys give us some perspective on it? And particularly it was requested in the memo to think of it from a perspective of the downtown district, right? And there are two elements Mr. Chairman, would encourage the staff to do. One, I think there are some out of compliance, never permitted signs that should be addressed. And they should be addressed by staff through through their normal process of saying this was done without permit. Okay, and I think, you know, the council, 2 years in an election ago, one of the goals was greater accountability around stuff like that. I think that's an item that should be done. Secondly, as it pertains to the historic district, I'd open the bidding at saying that these electronic signs should not be on Walworth Avenue from South 8th to North Line. There should be no provision for governmental use of these signs in that district. There should be only institutional permission for these signs. One of the reasons why I think the institutional permission has to be granted is I think the city runs into all kinds of religious freedom, freedom of speech issues and stuff like that on these kind of particular signs in institutional zoning. But they should be with some approved light output, with some restricted color palette, and without animation or other burst effects in that district when they are applied to the historic stuff. And those are my comments. I think the memo from staff said they wanted to talk to the downtown design overlay district about it. I think there should be some discussion about the application of these signs, and there should be some particular consistency through the normal ordinance process by the city on how these signs are handled. Thanks.
Thank you, Ken. I don't know if anyone else wants to offer any thoughts for staff at this time on this issue. Otherwise, I think it's definitely something we can have for, you know, official action of future agenda items. But I appreciate the initial feedback and thoughts. I'm sure staff does as well. With that, then we'll go ahead and move on to item number 5.2, which is consider request from Alliant Energy for an easement to route an underground power cable through a portion of Ornier Park.
Mark told me that he was gonna be on Zoom tonight, but he must not be.
He's trying to download it onto his phone.
Okay. I don't know too much about this one, to be honest, but I will try to, if there is any questions with it. But hopefully
We
Mark.
do have more details there too.
Yeah, do you know where it's gonna run? I mean, that was my confusion is, they say it's gonna run through a portion of the park, but I can't even figure out where it would run.
I think it's that red line.
Is it the red
I
line?
think that was a mistake.
But what I was confused about is the same, is that while the red line showed its route through the map, it said it was running through.
I know, that's.
And it was, and that the distance of the line is beyond the map, so
It was confusing.
Because it's one thing to go through, and it's another thing to go on the outskirts of it. I mean,
Right,
Exactly.
are we maybe able to get him on the phone?
Yeah, maybe we can. Oh, there's Mark.
Hey,
There he is.
Mark, are you with us? It looks like you are.
He says this was the route that Park and Tech wanted.
Okay, that,
Park and Rec, okay.
Oh, you typed Tech. I thought it was a company.
Yeah, this went to the Park and Recreation Commission. Alliant originally wanted to go due north from the transformer that's in a house on Whispering Pines Drive, which would have went directly through the park, through the center of the park. The Recreation Commission preferred this route, which went east over to their far east lot line north, and then went back to the west and then back onto private property.
Thanks, Mark, for clarifying that. Any other questions? Is there a motion? So moved. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do have a question. Is there any potential benefit to running it through the park that we could capitalize on?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there will be a trade, they're coming out of the existing transformer. If the power ever was needed in the park, there's plenty of places that we could come out of. It wouldn't come out of this line per se without tapping another, either junction point or transformer onto the line.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Any other discussion? None, otherwise we've got a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 5.3 is consider a resolution recommending the adoption of the public participation plan for amending the comprehensive plan. Oh,
Yeah, and Mark and I will tag team this one if you got questions on it. This is actually with Jackie, but she's not able to be here today. But yeah, so this is just our, the public participation plan for amending the comprehensive plan. And right now, we're looking at doing this for one specific parcel, but there might even be a chance it would be two if people end up submitting some things in time.
Kevin?
What, I have a question first about the amendment schedule summary. And we have a joint plan commission and city council meeting proposed for July 19th. Where the council holds a public hearing and the plan commission recommends proposed amendment or resolution. And then the council adopts the proposed amendment by ordinance. Why can't that be in like either the council's regular order or the plan commission's regular order?
Mark, do you know the answer on that one?
I believe Jackie set this up to meet the state statutes with the amendments to a comp plan. There are certain timeframes that things have to be published in the paper. It's a very specific process via state law.
And then the resolution has an error in it. In the second paragraph, it says, enable the village's consideration of potential amendment.
Yep, we should probably change that to city.
Any other questions? Thoughts? If not, I would entertain a motion. to approve. Already got a motion.
I move to approve, with the, plan, resolution corrected as noted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 6 is an update on building and zoning related matters. Questions for team?
Anything new?
Think here, Halder at Watson's buildings going up, you're driven by in Halder. Millennium's got a roof on it now, so that one's moving along. And Prop Shaft is, they've already have some of their line moved into their building. I think it's gonna be another month before they get everything over there. Brian Pollard subdivision over by Lake Lawn there, they've started, we're gonna be starting to move some dirt around this week. They've already taken some trees down. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that. And we still have quite a few single family homes going up, so we're staying pretty busy.
Perkins,
So I do have, I don't have an actual application yet. I have had some people inquiring about that. And hopefully we'll have some information for you maybe next month. There's definitely some interest in maybe putting 2 types of restaurants or something in there. So,
Sorry. King's Walk.
So they actually have their approval from the city. I think they're still working with the state for the health stuff, but I believe I'm surprised that they're not open yet, but I know that they're working on it, so they should be open pretty soon.
Okay, and then I have one concern real quick. I've been on the planning commission for a while now, I don't know. One of the big things that's always been mentioned is outdoor storage. I've noticed that over at the old Staples, that there's a lot of RVs just sitting out there. And then I sort of noticed that the property over by the airport has a lot of boats stored back there now. Do these follow the regulations that they're supposed to be, that they're allowed to store all this equipment?
Sure, so I'm gonna take that since there's 2 different places there, I'm gonna take those separately.
Okay.
So the Staple building that's out there, there are some RVs that are parked. They're parked in a parking lot. They are, I think Greg's reached out and asked staff and asked the city if he could keep some things there. We allowed him to keep some RVs over there but he's not allowed to be selling them or anything like that. A conditional use would be required if you were gonna be selling.
So does he own that property?
Mr. Mayor, under what authority?
As far as
Under what authority is the city permitting private storage on a non-public
I
property?
I believe that he owns the property, correct?
So-
And as long as they're, well, I'll just let you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so the Staple building, I do not believe that owner owns that building, but he does own the property that is adjacent to that, which is actually where that parking lot, where the RVs are parked. So he does own that portion of the parking lot.
Wouldn't these vehicles fall under the ordinance of an unlicensed vehicle and therefore I'm really fuzzy on what that thing says, but it seems like you have 10 days to license it or move it.
So anything that has to do with like the licensing of vehicles or anything like that goes through the police department. The zoning department doesn't really do anything with vehicles that are licensed or unlicensed.
So I'd encourage the mayor, because it's an interdepartmental thing, to clarify under what authority.
Yeah, and we can do that, and I think we're getting into a little bit more discussion actually than an update on that, so.
The question,
Then that he had, there was a second area that when the second question wasn't addressed.
Yeah, so then there was a second,
Oh, sorry.
there was a second question with the property that was just annexed into the city of Delavan behind the airport there, which is owned by Lake Lawn, and I am working with them right now, and they probably will be coming in with a conditional use for doing something back there.
I know that the history of the planning commission, there's just been a lot of people concerned about outdoor storage. And I've noticed there's been a lot of outdoor storage in those two areas, and it's the beginning of the city, so people see that a lot. I just.
Sure.
Staples?
Oh, sorry.
Anything new on the Lutheran Church property?
So I don't know of anything in concrete on that. I know that I've gotten some people that have called about, some ideas with things. But I don't have any, I don't have any paperwork that anyone's filled out for anything on that, so.
Because I thought we were approached by a person who wanted to.
There was that fitness guy that was here, and I'm not sure if that fizzled out or, I haven't seen anything on it.
Well, if it did, then why did we act on the plan change? Because the whole point is.
So is this for a different property on that one? So we were hoping to do
There was maybe
two or
three
three
potential.
together. But the one with this one is, the other ones, we already have paperwork signed on that and a cost recovery, and everything on that one.
The other question is the corner of 50 and F. Is there anything new from the state as far as a light or anything going in there?
I'm gonna refer that one to Mark.
They're working with the DOT to get their permits for construction. They're looking to have that active or in place by the end of this year.
Okay, I didn't hear that initially. I thought you said chewed it up.
Other questions for Dean?
Yes, so Slumberland, they still need to get me some information. I know that they're close to probably being ready to have their grand opening, but they need to get some more information to me before they're gonna get their occupancy on that.
Kevin?
I have two broad building and zoning questions. One, I think it's been a couple of years since the comprehensive plan was finished. I would suggest within the next meeting cycle or two that the administrator and the planning and zoning staff review the to-do list on the back of that plan commission and report back to the plan commission on status of what we've accomplished and what we haven't. And then the second item that I would like to get an update on is in terms of commercial development, we do a lot of work on new commercial development. I think that it would be valuable, not as a regular item, but as a special item for the administrator to talk to us about previously approved commercial development activities and touching base with those commercial developers who haven't started and let us know what the status is on those. there are a few that come to mind that I think would be valuable, because I think in some instances, they educate us about what we should approve and not approve.
Any other questions regarding updates? Seeing and hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor of adjournment. That's it. Now.
Aye.